Right, okay.
You can select a black screen rather than a white one.
Right.
I've really, yeah. Well, the thing is, we're in the podcast. I haven't even
That's
done the
all right.
intros. Let's kick it off then, man.
All right.
And welcome to the Pagey train. Today I have in the studio with me Mark Zimmerman, producer, actor, writer.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
And director.
And director.
Yeah,
I left director out.
No, it's all right.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't on your IMDb.
Wasn't it? Oh, okay. That's what I mean.
There is
They continually changing it. Well,
Yeah.
so,
I wonder why.
I don't know.
they-
Everything's being updated, and then they don't tell us until we actually go on the website. And there it is. So
Yeah, well, they've updated IMDb, they've updated Facebook, they've updated YouTube.
yeah, okay.
All these platforms have been updated, and especially the thing that that annoys me about it, well, not annoys me, it's frustrating, is the publisher interfaces all change.
Right.
So how to upload videos changes, how to do your analytics.
Yeah.
Because these things are important. You've got to track your audience and
Yeah.
measure where your content is effective,
Yeah.
and what markets you're in, which is interesting. Like I was doing some research on my own content today, and I've got listeners everywhere. I didn't know.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow,
like,
okay.
it's expanded. Like 90% of my listeners are obviously Australian or in Australia. And I picked up some Californians today. I've got some
There you go.
Californian listeners on Spotify. Thank you for you guys.
Excellent.
Spread the word. I know you guys are fellow podcasters because I did a bit of Facebook stalking and a bit of Instagram stalking on you guys today. But
Yep.
they were really cool. I don't think give me a shout out and I'll give you guys a shout out. We've got some listeners in California, Islands, Germany. So the Spotify is doing really well.
Right.
It's hard.
Which market do you prefer, the US market or the European?
The US.
Yeah. Okay.
US, yeah, they're more interactive. Australian markets are very. It depends on what Australian market. When you're doing podcasts, some people will comment here and there.
Yeah.
Except for your trolls. There's always everywhere you go. There's a fucking troll.
There's
right?
a troll, but you find that
Every bridge has a goddamn troll.
Australia are sheep. We only follow if they're popular. You know.
That's
So,
true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, as a generalisation, they do. But I think niche markets, they're a bit different. So when I'm doing stuff for cars, for instance, they remind me very much of a heavy metal audience.
Right.
Generally very interactive online, love posting photos at events that they're at.
Yeah.
And they listen to content that's related to their interest.
Right.
So I do find a lot of niche markets are cool, but as a generalisation, I get what you're saying. You get the same thing when you're doing a show in Sydney.
Yeah.
You'll get people just standing at the back. You've got to sort of coax them.
Yeah,
Coax them?
yeah,
Is that
yeah.
the right word? Coax.
Lasso
Encourage
them and bring them in.
Yeah, lasso them in. Lasso them in with some music and some words, and
Yeah,
try
exactly.
and get them in more interactive.
Yeah.
But I'm finding it's more and more the show's expanding, which is exciting.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just started the show. It's a bit of a paradox why I started the show. I started it out of wanting to be a better speaker and wanting to be a better listener.
Yep.
And this is perfect because we're locked in.
Yeah, exactly.
Headphones are on.
Yep.
We're locked in. There's no
Yep.
escaping each
Yep.
other. We're going to have a conversation for an hour.
Exactly. There's no one interfering with us or interrupting us except for the dog down the street.
Yeah. I think if ever my guests all get together and have a party, they're going to go, Ross does not like those dogs.
No.
Look, I do like dogs. It's just that I don't like my neighbour's dogs. Well, I don't like... No, let me rephrase that.
Okay.
I like the dogs. I just don't like their owners.
No.
The way they treat their dogs. Like,
Yep.
if you've got a big dog in a small yard, you've got to walk your dog, man.
Yeah, exactly.
You've got this other being that's running around.
You got to take responsibility.
You've got to take responsibility.
Especially when they're big dogs, and it's like, my son wants a dog, right? But we don't have time to, walk him and look after him. And plus, we don't have much of a big yard. So instead, we've, given him 2 goldfish. Very low maintenance. Yeah, so he loves it.
No, my first 2 pets when I was a kid was 2 goldfish.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had the cutest names, Kaka and Brum Brum.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Mine's Noddy and Bumpy.
Bumpy, that's a good name. It's a good name for a goldfish.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I had a jar of ants,
Right.
and I had one particular ant was called Rambo.
Right.
And I took the jar of ants to bed with me, and the lid came loose,
And Rambo escaped.
Yeah, Rambo and his friends escaped, and they bit me from head to toe.
Ouch. Bloody hell. Lesson learned.
Yeah, definitely lesson learned. I think I was sunburned at the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So that was a great combination.
Yeah.
But let's get right into it, man.
Okay.
Okay, so you got some productions coming up this year, 2019, that you've been currently working on.
Yeah, we've been... James Pinata and I, we've been working on...
Big shout out, James.
Big shout out, James, yes.
He's a really good bloke.
He is. He's an absolute treasure.
Talented guy too.
Yeah, he is. He's got a heart of gold too, and when you speak to him about films and projects and everything like that, you can just hear his passion in his voice. Mm-hmm. You know, he's not here for a quick buck or to get famous. He just loves making films, telling stories, and getting them out there. So we've been working the past couple of years on a few short films and also AK Season 2, which is still in the can. Thanks to COVID, it's sort of postponed.
Fucking Rona!
I know. It has killed everyone.
But it's birthed in a lot of other things as well.
Yeah, it has. It has.
Online presence has changed. Industrial relation to workplaces has changed.
Everyone's doing everything online now with Zoom.
Yeah.
So we've just been working. We've been took about 6 months to film. And
Tommy Kingdon's a big job.
It is.
It's a massive job. There's a lot of special effects.
Not as big as season 1 because he spent 2 years doing season 1.
Yeah.
By himself with a bunch of other people. We actually met during while he was in the middle of shooting, and he casted me. As
I met him in the middle of shooting.
Yeah. So he's met a lot of people, and unfortunately, the first season burned him out for a bit, and then he had to have had a bit of time out because he had personal reasons as well. And then he came back, and then I've been trying to get to work with him for quite some time. So I'm constantly messaging him saying, "Hey, I've got a project that I want to work with." And then finally in 2018, I was doing a short film called Charlotte's Requiem. Okay, and I needed someone.
This is a short?
Yeah, short film. Yep. So I needed a producer to help me get it up and running because I was going to do it by myself, and I was constantly concentrating on getting James involved, and then James says, "Oh, look, I'm a bit too busy. I can't do it, but I'll introduce you to Lily Chen." Shout out to Lily Chen.
Big shout out.
She was basically the driving force of getting it made. So she introduced me to all the other people, and
that sort of exploded from there.
Yeah, and James finally came on board, and he said, "Look, I've got Penigma Pictures logo and production company that I want to restart, and put AK2 and other productions as well, and I would love Charlotte's Requiem to be the first one to have the logo." So
pointing into the stick.
It is. Yeah. So we got that made, and that's won a couple of awards, and it's been nominated as well. But during that time as well, he said, "I want to get back into directing as well, but I want to direct someone else's."
It's a different beast. It's a different beast when you direct other people's work.
It is, and I've yet to experience that, but hopefully I will one day.
Totally recommend it.
Yeah.
It will broaden your horizons.
It does, because especially when you've been writing it for years and years and years, and then you finally, it comes to the day where you're directing it, you're very close to it, so you've got a certain way how you want it to look.
Yeah, you're a little bit shielded by your own creativity there.
Yeah. So
don't get me wrong, that's a good thing.
It is, yeah. But when you're working on someone else's script, you're thinking, okay, am I doing it justice to his words and his writing and his vision?
Yeah, you're very naked.
Yeah, you are.
You're very vulnerable when you're working on other people's work.
Yeah, I found that a lot of directors who I've met during the time say, just if you're going to direct someone else's screenplay, don't let them on set. Because they are going to really look down on you and go, "Hang on, that's not what I wrote. You're changing it." And it makes things a lot awkward. So I wrote a script years ago called Wall, which I rewrote, and I gave it to James to read. He loved it, and he went on to direct it pretty much straight after we did Charlotte's, and that's won a few awards and been nominated as well. He won an award for Best Editor.
Oh, really?
Something that he never thought he would actually win an award for.
Well, no one ever thinks they're going to win an award.
No, not at all.
They don't think that. Like, there's a thing I come across in Made in the West all the time. People always have this deer in the headlights when they win. They're like, I just can't believe I've won.
Yeah, exactly.
You know. But we're going to get into any of these films for Made in the West?
No, because they're not long enough. They're not short enough, sorry. Yeah,
they're exceeding 15 minutes.
Yeah, I spoke to you a couple of years ago, and they're about 26 minutes.
Yeah, no, too long.
And you said, not too long, so that'd be 15 minutes. So I've got to learn to actually make a short film. Yeah. So.
Well, a tip for the wise, 7 minutes is the ultimate duration.
Really?
For any film festival.
Right.
As someone who curates film for cinema presentations, 7 minutes is great.
Right.
Because if you make a 15-minute film, it's got to be a knockout for someone to select it.
Exactly, yeah.
And don't get me wrong, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be challenged to do a 15-minute film. But if you want to put in multiple festivals and get multiple screenings, and if you're a curator that has... and different film festivals work different ways. Either which they got different terminology for it. Finalist, selected,
semi-finalist and
screened. Right. If you want to get screened, right, regardless of trying to win something, 7 minutes is really great because if you had one film that was pretty good at 15 minutes, but you've also got 2 7-minute films that are also pretty good.
It's challenging as an artist,
but you're going to put those 2 7-minute films on.
Right, yeah.
It's just a natural mathematical decision to make for a multiple of reasons. For festivals, it's hard to get people to a festival. It's hard to get bums on seats. So you'll have different audiences within the audience. So a filmmaker, they'll have their friends, the crew, the crew's family, the actor's family, and then what you want to try and do is get that third, fourth layer of the unknowns just to your festival. And that's through advertising, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So if you've got a choice of getting 15 people to a festival because they've got a 15-minute film, or 30 people, you're going to pick the 30 people. It's just a mathematical decision.
Yeah, exactly.
With that said, though, if you've got a 15-minute knockout that just goes, this is fucking ridiculously awesome, you're going to select it.
Yeah.
And that does happen. Yeah. That really does. But I recommend for short films, 7 minutes is the sweet spot.
Yeah, I recommend it because the last thing you want to do is lose... Everyone has an attention span to a certain point, you know. So, I mean, Charlotte's Requiem was a very passionate project for me. And I wrote that years and years and years ago, and then I got rear-ended by some wannabe producers.
Yeah. Is that a nice way to put it?
Well, basically, okay, about 10 or so years ago, I was making a short film. Okay, it would have been like just under 15 minutes. So I gave it to this producer who was wanting to make new content, meet new directors and people like that. So I said, okay, cool, I'll go this video.
Yeah, a little bit on the scene. That's attractive.
Yeah. So someone new, someone's fresh, someone who has that drive, that passion to promote. So... we were talking on and off, and one day, about a week out from shooting, contacted him. I said, "Do we have a meeting just so we can talk about what we've got?"
Yeah, what's the vision? What's the logistics?
Like
what's the logistics?
So it's a week out, so let's make sure everything's on the table, everything's ready to go. I'm walking to the train station. I'm giving him a phone call just to make sure that we're going to meet at the rendezvous. And it went, this phone number is no longer connected, blah, blah, blah. Right?
Fuck.
Yeah, I went, hang on, what? So I redid it again, redialed, and same thing again. I was like, okie dokie. Emailed him, email bounced back.
Wow, the email bounced back.
Yeah, so basically...
What the fuck's going on with this story, man? Where are you going with this?
I don't want to name names. I shouldn't be naming names.
Don't name names.
But basically...
What the fuck's happening here?
Yeah, this guy was basically... He could sell, snow to the Eskimos. He was really selling me on, I can get this done for you, blah, 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 blah. Later found out he's in real estate, so that's where he was going to get the financing for the film.
Strange place to get that.
Yeah, so me being young and vulnerable, so I kind of fell for it, and then everything just was like he went AWOL. So I rang up my first AD, and I said, okay, this is what's going on. This is what's happening. I know it's a week out, but I'm going to have to just can it, postpone it. And she says, no, you've come this far. Fuck it. We're going to get this done.
That's a good AD right there.
I'm like, sweet. Because I've been working hard on this, right? Getting everyone together.
That's how you get your stripes. Whoever they say AD is, my fucking hat off to you. Exactly. Good on you.
Yeah. And basically, I was just so really disheartened, but she just picked me up. So I rang everyone and said, look, this is what's happening, blah, blah, blah. Let's just shoot. And they said, yep, okay, let's go and do it. Unfortunately, it never we shot it, but...
Never got to see the light of day?
No, because we had a few disasters, and... We shot it in an apartment at the, is it Southwest Road near Bondi?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. We shot a real crucial scene at 3:30 in the afternoon. So all we're hearing is traffic, peak hour traffic.
Oh, mate, that's why you got to contact me.
And we're like, fuck.
Man, I'm a Foley artist. I'll redesign your entire soundscape.
Oh, look, sound...
I love doing it.
Sound has been my has been my...
I say to people, it's the silent killer.
It is.
Sound is the silent killer. I do a lot of repair jobs for a lot of films. And it's all to do with Foley. And I build soundscapes for people. Excellent. And not to blow... I will blow my own horn over this because
good.
If you take a scene that you've shot in with realistic sound in a scene, right? If you had a sound that was if you had a scene that was disrupted by rain, traffic, wind is a real common one.
It is,
I'll rebuild that soundscape and I'll make it match the rest of your film. And you won't know that it's ADR. You won't know that it's ADR. You won't know that it's Foley.
Right.
That's one of the things that really gets my rocks off. I fucking love doing that.
Now, where were you?
Where was I? Where was I? Yeah, and
no, because the same thing happened when I was doing the Stephen King Dollar Baby movie, Rest Stop. The first night we were shooting was at the tail end of March, and we had that Arctic cold wind come through, and we shot it at Menangle. You been to Menangle?
Yeah, man. I love Menangle. We got the old Menangle markets out there, and the race, the trots.
Is the trots, yeah. So we shot it at the park there, and real nice, fresh night, but it was fucking cold, and the wind
was howling.
And I was just listening to my sound guy going, "How's it?" He goes, "Oh, it's good. We can fix it though, but it's good." But man, just really, really loud.
Yeah, man. I love fixing that shit. It is one of my biggest passions, is fixing stuff like that. Because it happens. It's unavoidable. Generally, if you've got multiple locations in a film, you're going to have some sound disruption. It's unavoidable.
Yeah.
So I'll even put the wind back in. Yeah. Like once I've built the voices, once I've built the ADR, and once I've built the soundscape, I'll put the wind back in because people's hair's probably blowing around.
Everything.
I'll make it match, man. I love doing it. There's a few, I must say, there's been a few people that entered Made in the West, and they ring me up and they go, "Man, I want to enter Made in the West, but I've got this one scene that's buggered."
Yeah.
I'm like, send it to me and I'll repair it for you.
And it's always sound.
It's always sound.
When someone says, it's great, visually, lighting, fantastic, but... sound.
From my perspective, it's 80% of the time it's sound. 20% of the time it's an edit error. So there's some editing errors. So that's the other thing people hand me is like, man, I've got this thing and I've built the scene 1 and scene 3, but scene 2 is falling apart. I'm like, well, send it to me. Let me see what I can do.
Okay.
That's just one of my things that I do, and I really enjoy it because it just comes from. I don't know. Doing Foley is like reacting the film.
Yeah.
Right? So if you take this beer and you put it down on the table, I'll recreate that. Okay. If there's wind blowing through here, I'll make it real.
Yep.
But I like, because what I'll do is I'll take a scene and then I'll write out all of the sounds that I see.
Yep.
And when I show people the sounds that I see, they go, "How did you see that sound?" I'm like, "Because that's the sound that keys make."
Yeah.
That's the sound of... he's wearing rubber shoes on a wooden surface. They would sound like this.
Yeah. Okay.
So I build it right. I'm very meticulous about it. I know you've brought it up and you've really...
Well, being a musician, you'd have to have good ears. Yeah, totally. Specifically, So for me, when I was editing Charlotte's, I was very particular about what I was looking at. Sound was just later in post. So if there was ever a continuity error or something that just didn't match, it was like I was really hounding my editor about it. So, yeah.
Well, here's the strange thing with continuity, though. I've got this saying, big shout out to a very close friend of mine, Quentin. He used to say to me, one of the first few films that I made, he'd say, because I'd go, well, the beer is up to here and we need to refill it because we just did the scene and we need to do a take 2, need to refill the beer. Yep. And he said to me, "Ross, I know you've been really meticulous, but continuity is for pussies."
Okay.
Like, okay. And then, because then what he did was he illuminated the idea of, you need to have continuity. If someone walks through a room, you can't have them walk out the wrong side, and where you're breaking the rules of physics. Yeah. But when you're looking at it, how deep a cigarette was smoked, or how full a drink was, or these sort of things, I tend to let those things slide because no one notices.
Do you notice with sitcoms, whenever they're at a cafe and they're drinking bottles of water, they're room temperature because of condensation? Yeah, totally. And everything like that. So they've got to drink it, room temperature.
Yeah, well, there's well, there's all kinds of weird things that they do. You know how you do ice cream in film?
Yeah.
Mashed potato.
There you go.
Smashed potato, room temperature.
Interesting, yeah.
So you actors, I do not, and I mean that in a derogatory term. You goddamn actors.
Yeah.
I don't know how you do it. We make you drink tea when it should be scotch.
I know.
You know, and I'm like, oh, actually,
funny story. When was it? Back in 2004. I did a short film. It's on Vimeo. Most of my short films are on Vimeo.
You have sent me a lot of clips.
I have. I just wanted you to have a look. Yeah, it was called.
You murdered me. You murdered me with.
Here's my work. Watch it.
It was just raining Mark clips for a day. Like, I've got it, Mark. I've got it.
I never. The thing about me is I always second guess myself, so I never sort of promote myself.
That's what I was getting out of that.
Because what I do is I just write. I'm just that silent type. I write, I direct, and I just stay in the background. I let my work do the talking. Whereas there's a lot of people who have got a great gift of the gab. They can talk shit.
Yeah.
But their content's crap.
There's good salesmen out there. There's good salesmen.
Because I've seen independent Australian films from guys who can just talk the shit. They give them money, and their content's like, huh?
Yeah, I've looked at this a lot.
Yeah,
but I think there's more.
It's disheartening.
Yeah, but I think there's more to it, Mark.
Yeah,
I think there's more to it. That, like, you know, someone's uncle owns this company, and they want to promote it, and they got a nice little tax write-off, and little Billy is going to make this film. And you see it happen, right?
Yeah.
But there's other ones at the other end of the spectrum, like you know, you got Jace Picard or Tom Danger's out there, right? They're making films because they like fucking love making movies.
Yeah.
Now the guys that are doing Wormwood, right? They fucking
I'm
love.
so glad they're doing the second one.
Yeah, man.
It's about time.
They fucking love doing it, right? It's not. It comes from a place of artistic merit. Where it has a voice.
Yeah.
Like man, even being in a garage band or running a small little podcast.
You got to have the heart for it.
You got to have the heart for it.
Heart, energy, and the passion. That's what drives it. Yeah.
Don't really care where it goes.
Yeah.
I have to do this.
Yeah. You have to do it. Otherwise, you'll die trying. Yeah. Anyway, going back to my story before.
Yeah.
Drinking, right?
You managed to. You segued back. You did a good job.
Yeah, I'm good at that. So anyway, we're shooting Gentle Kind of Madness. I was 24 at the time. I'm 40 now, believe it or not. So the scene is...
You got a year on me.
Do I? Oh, God.
Oh, no, a month, actually. I'm 40 next month.
Right.
I've actually had to look at my watch to figure out where it is.
I'm starting to get grey hairs around here.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
It's regal. It's regal.
You gotta love it, though.
Yeah. Chicks dig it, man.
I know.
They dig it.
So
Chicks or dudes dig it.
It is. So, basically, the story is this woman finds out that her husband's cheating on her.
Yeah.
So, she decides to confront him, and we don't realise that she's actually kidnapped the mistress, and they have this altercation. Okay, so basically it opens up with her at the table, and it's on the anniversary night. So she's at the table, she's got dinner prepared, and she's there drinking wine, slowly drinking, just prepping the whole entire night.
Scowling.
Yeah, scowling. I didn't have Ribena, so I gave a real...
Oh, you gave her wine.
Real bottle of red wine.
Yeah, that's how you fucking do it. Yeah. Fuck tea. Give him scotch.
So it's... the actress is Kim Jackson. So, she's gone on to LA and doing some good stuff there. So, Kim, if you're watching, hello.
Yeah, man, maybe you're one of my Californian watchers. Who knows?
Yeah. So, she drank the entire bottle. And then she slept it off on the couch.
Oh, she would have been legless after that.
Oh, but the performance.
Nailed it.
An hour or so later, she was feeling a bit groggy, but she had the energy and it just fucking nailed it. She just nailed that role.
Yeah, no. Sometimes you got to go that way.
Yeah, you do. Bit of method acting. Doesn't
go astray. I've had a big shout out to Quentin again. Big method actor, man. He's a guy that really broadened my horizons. Like, and there's been other actors that I've interacted with as well, where because as a director, you look at story, you look at visual language, and then as you start to mature as a director, you realise, well, I need to give these actors an anchor point, like, you know, and to be cliche, I'd go, what's my motivation? All right, that's a simplistic
it's a
way.
It's a cliched line that actors always ask directors all the time.
Yeah, they need to know.
Yeah.
Well, the worst thing you can say as a director, one more time with feeling, but that's the worst thing you can say.
That's a cliched answer. Yeah.
That's a terrible thing to say.
Or you can go Hitchcock's way and say your paycheck.
Yeah. But you got to give them a reference point. Give them a reference point, exactly. Something that they can reference in their life. Where you say, well, look, you came from a family that didn't care about you, and you needed to earn your father's love,
Yeah.
no matter what. And I need you to bring that disdain into your tone when you're saying these things, because you're so driven to impress people.
Yeah.
If you give an actor something like that, they will work with it. You need to give them context and depth. As a maturing director, that's what I've really started to learn.
Yeah.
Because you can get taught this at film school or whatever, but until you start doing it, you don't really get it, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah.
You can understand mise en scène. You can understand mise en abîme. You can understand the picture within the picture within the picture.
Yeah, exactly.
But until you start interacting with actors and crew, it's hard to formulate a vision. And that's the thing that gets me excited as a director. I love doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it blows my hair right back. My grey hair way back.
Oh, the way I direct us, we rehearse and we go through it, but I also want to see what they can bring to the table as well.
They've got terminologies for this.
Yeah. So show me what you've got, show me what you've worked with, and if I like it, fantastic. If I don't, we'll try it a different way.
Yeah.
Okay. There's one actress who I've worked with continuously, Sondheim Hobson, if you're out there. Shout out to her. She's amazing. She just brings everything to the table. She's prepared, she learns the lines, and she,
does the homework.
She does, yeah.
I hate it when someone doesn't do the homework.
Yeah, I know.
Pisses me off.
Yeah, I've learnt the lines. What else do you want?
Yeah, I need you to perform. That's because you're a performer. No, but you're working on a film with Victoria.
Yeah, we did Rest Stop.
Yeah, Rest Stop.
We did the Stephen King one. We did Rest Stop.
Big shout out to Victoria.
Yep. She's also doing a special
Ferrara. Victoria
right.
Ferrara.
Not Ferrari. Ferrara.
Yeah.
She's done a special guest spot on AK2 as well. But no, I gave her a short script, a horror short script, last year, and we've been talking about it. And then I decided to sort of, stay away from the short film side of things, and I've branched it out to a feature film. So I haven't yet finished the script as yet, but it's something we're talking about, and hopefully next year we can start working on that. But James and I, we're basically trying to build Penigma Pictures as more of a more of a production company.
A growing company,
yeah. So
that's a good way to do it.
Good way to do it, yeah. So we're not trying to focus on so much on AK, but we've got short films that we've just already made, and we've got 2 films that we're working on that's in the pipeline. So we've got a short. He wants to work on a short horror script. So that one that I was talking about that we had problems with the producer pissing off, we're going to remake that.
I wonder what happened to that guy.
Oh, who knows? So we're going to.
He's in Barbados, homeless on the beach.
Yes, hopefully. So we're going to rewrite that, and we've also got a feature script that I wrote years ago, and we're going to work on that as well. He absolutely loves it. Very John Carpenterist.
Okay.
So I love John Carpenter.
Yeah, totally.
Heavily inspired by his work.
Yeah, I think a lot of us have, especially in our age bracket. Films from the 80s and what was it? John Carpenter, wasn't that The Thing?
The Thing,
Yeah.
Escape from New York, Halloween, of course.
Halloween,
The Fog.
Yeah, I think
Prince of Darkness is my personal favourite that no one really likes.
Really?
Yeah.
I haven't seen this one.
Yeah, it's a good film. It was shot just after Big Trouble in Little China.
Fucking love that movie as well.
That is a great film, and they're trying to remake it with The Rock. And John Carpenter was questioned.
They're not doing Big Trouble in Little China again, are they?
Yeah, but
it's kind of like making Back to the Future again. It's just
I know it's
not going to work.
Yeah, but Dwayne Johnson is saying it's not an actual remake. It's a sequel, proper sequel.
A sequel that could be better.
Yeah, but
it's a remake.
Yeah, exactly. Pinpoint it. But John Carpenter was questioned about remakes in general, especially with his films. And he's become a bitter old man these days, where he's like, he just says, look, if someone's going to remake my movie, I just hold out my hand and I'll just take the check. You know.
Well, they redid The Thing. They did the prequel to The Thing.
Yes.
The prequel to The Thing was pretty good.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't mind that.
Yeah.
When I was watching it, I'm like, because I actually clicked on it and watched it going, oh, it's The Thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is not The Thing.
No. Where's the dog?
Yeah, then you watch it, you get to the end, you're like,
there we go.
Oh, man, that's a pretty good movie. That was a pretty good movie. So it can be done well.
The Fog remake was shit.
I haven't seen the Fog remake.
Yeah, that stars what's his name? The guy who was in Smallville. I think it was the guy who's in Smallville.
Superman Smallville?
Yeah. Tom something. He was in it. Yeah.
Old mate.
Yeah. But then, he basically gave Rob Zombie his blessing to do Halloween. Did you like it?
Yes and no. I'm on the fence.
I'm a huge Rob Zombie fan.
Because I'm a Rob Zombie fan. Oh, wow.
Yeah,
oh, wow. No, I'm a Rob Zombie fan. I'm a fan of his music, fan of some of his films. There's some films that people didn't like that I like.
31?
No, I was more of a...
31 was very...
Yeah. But The Devil's Rejects...
You can't beat that.
You cannot beat it.
I know.
It is one of the best horror films of all, because they get you to be sympathetic to a serial killer family. Like, it is really good.
Exactly.
And it has the best ending that I've ever seen in a fucking movie. Because they got Freebird.
Exactly.
Shootout scene.
Yes.
Where they're all hanging out of this Cadillac, I think it is. Might have been a Cadillac or
I think it was,
Impala.
yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah.
But it's a convertible, and they've got like proper guns. None of this like prop gun shit. They've got proper guns.
Yeah.
And not just like not like severe gun porn, just your standard dick size gun porn.
Yeah.
And you know, there's like some nice 38s, and they had a nice shotgun, and oh my god, that fucking movie, man! I've watched that a lot.
It is so full on in your face, and the whole 70s vibe is right there.
Nailed it.
He's a massive 70s fan. Every single film that he makes, there is some element of 70s, that era, music-wise as well.
Well, when I watch Halloween, that has elements of The Devil's Rejects.
Yeah.
It has elements of the way it's shot and the way the story's told. It has small little nuances in there, and that's why I like it.
He doesn't hold back on the violence either.
No.
Especially with the sequel.
No,
that was full on.
It's very full on. But I like the House of a Thousand Corpses.
That was very.
It's very niche though.
Very. How do you call it? Like a haunted house, haunted train ride. You know, the ghost train.
Ghost train
had that vibe. The colorist.
I think they even had a ghost train in it. It is very. That's a good way to describe that film. Actually, it is very much a ghost train.
Theme park type of film. And then you look at Devil's Rejects, and it's like, this guy's a serious filmmaker.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. He's taken a lollipop-style horror film, like a teen scream film, and made it into a real 70s violent, in-your-face, you know.
Totally, man. I think Rob Zombie does a good job, so it's hard. Like, you know, he has a lot of critics, though. He has a lot of critics. And a lot of people, because the horror scene is very much like the metal scene or the car scene. They're very enclosed. And they don't like change.
No.
And anything that is adverse to what is traditional, that it will bring up to cause. We were talking before, actually, speaking of which, we're talking about Tool.
Yes. I'm distracted by these imageries, and it reminds me of Tool. Because you've got... what was the album? 10,000 Days.
Yeah.
And you had the album cover with those glasses. So you're looking through the glasses and you get hypnotic patterns.
Yeah, it's totally LSD-esque. You're totally tripping.
Yeah. It's one of those albums you can just sit down, headphones, listen to it with candles and ambience, light and stuff, and just be taken on a journey, because that's what Maynard does. And the rest of the band. Who's the guitar? Adam, I think. Yeah.
Well, I'm a vocalist, so I concentrate on Maynard. But don't get me wrong, love the rest of the band. I think even the drummer has like a mathematical degree, maybe a physicist.
They all do. I mean, Maynard's a martial artist.
Yeah.
He's a winemaker.
Yeah, he's a winemaker and ex-soldier.
Yes,
he's an ex-soldier. That's why I'm like, a vocalist, ex-soldier. All right, me and him are like this.
The bands, the gigs are hard to get into, especially as soon as the tickets go on sale, they sell out. But I did see him once, a big day up.
Man, I got to go backstage once with Tool.
Yeah?
Okay. Yeah, I bribed a security guard $100.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what happened?
I just walked past them. That was it.
Oh, all right. So you didn't meet them?
No, never got to talk to them.
Right.
But I just walked through. I got to walk through the backstage and all the inner workings of the stage, and they were leaving the gig.
Right.
And I literally brushed shoulders with them walking past Tool.
Okay.
And it cost me $100.
Worth it.
Yeah. Awesome security guard.
It's like where's my phone?
Yeah. Oh, it wasn't in the day of phones though.
Oh, right,
Okay. Yeah, it was so long ago.
So which tour was this? Was this
This was this was Onima.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, but this is the band that totally changed my fucking life, man.
Yeah.
Like I was talking about, I think last podcast actually. There's been like shows in Sydney that I've gone to that inspired me to become a musician as a teenager. But Maynard is someone that's inspired me as a vocal writer.
Yeah.
Because, man, that shit is poetic and hits notes at these weird points that are not normal. They're just not a normal 4/4. It's like they're a 5/7 timing, right? And generically. Looking at their new album, though, fuck, man.
Yeah, it was worth 13 years. Wait.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was. Some of the critics that come out against that were like, well, they're just redoing their old stuff.
It's just, they're being repetitive.
But I say that they're actually referencing and paying homage to themselves as a band, and that for Tool to get more technical is insane because they're more technical.
Yeah.
It's gotten more technical.
Yeah, I think they've matured
days.
and grown.
Yeah, totally.
Because what has happened between the 10,000 years to the new album? You know, what's happened in those 13 years as, like, human, like, how they evolved as
Well, I think 10,000 Days was a lot, vocally was a lot based on Maynard's mother.
Right, yeah.
Passing away, and passing away from cancer. And I think when you get to... what was it? Lateralis. So Lateralis was an album that had no swearing in it at all, which was unconventional at the time.
Yeah.
Which is a strange thing, because if you look at the journey of music, like from Guns N' Roses, they were the guys that started swearing on albums.
Yep.
And then you got NWA. These are the guys that started swearing on albums. But then you get to Tool 15 years later.
Yeah.
They've delivered something that feels like they're swearing, but they're not.
They're angry in a different way, but not. They don't have to scream.
Yeah,
they let their words and their music, take you on a journey and explain to you what they're saying instead of swearing. And
Maynard would use things like words like belligerent as a vocal
dictionary.
line.
What's that word?
Yeah, he'll use belligerent and these kind of monosyllabic words, if you will. And fit them into music, and they've always just blown me away. So I think totally.
Didn't you go on a mescaline trip at one point?
Yeah, mescaline and peyote. Yeah. But look, actually, to sidetrack totally, one of the coolest stories I've heard of someone being on mescaline and peyote was Sting. Right?
Yes. Have you seen that Netflix
story? Psychedelics.
Yeah, it was a really good documentary.
It was really good.
Yeah.
And I was so envious. Oh my God, I was so envious because I'm like a hobby astronomer. So I own a couple of telescopes and do astrophotography.
Yep.
And when I was about 6, Halley's Comet passed.
Wow.
And I don't remember it. I have a photographic memory and I can't remember Halley's Comet. There's photographs of me as a child looking at it.
Right.
But I don't fucking remember, and it annoys me. Jesus. So I need to be 82 before it passes again.
Really? Oh, God.
So I watched that documentary.
Right.
And then in that documentary, Sting, in all of his wisdom and financial power, decides, hey, man, I'm going to go to Mexico. I'm going to do some peyote. I'm going to watch Halley's Comet pass over. I'm like, oh, man, it sounds like what an awesome fucking experience.
But when you're tripping and you're on peyote and you're looking at the sky and it's got to be a clear sky, you're probably in the desert hearing coyotes in the background, and it just I can't explain it, but what are you going through? What is your mind going through?
Yeah, where are you at?
Where are you at in the time of your life to give you that journey? Because they say you can't be in a bad mood.
No, I don't recommend that.
You can't be, have had recent tragedies or things like that, because your brain is the most powerful instrument in your body, and you can just.
I've had some tragedies and gone through that before. I think as far as depression goes, if you're talking about depression,
yeah.
I think the good thing about psychedelics and depression, why they work in a measured way. I'm not recommending this, but what I'm saying is that when you're depressed, nothing is beautiful. Everything is grey. You are a victim, and everything is shit.
Yeah.
When you are, if you're on, you could look at concrete on shrooms and find it entertaining, and you can find the beauty in it, right?
Yeah.
So, for someone that's in a heavy bout of depression, on psychedelics, they can see the beauty in something again, and that tells their brain, well, it's not so bad. Everything's not so bad as you think it is. You've gone through trauma. You've gone through this episode that's made you feel this depressed. But looking at this tree and that sunlight is amazing.
Yeah.
And you finally see the beauty in something again. And I think that's the first step to recovery, seeing the beauty in things again.
Yeah.
So that's what I think is the power of psychedelics in human management, human mental management. But I think the first time I was on psychedelics, I was looking at the sky and I was rearranging the stars. And I'm like, this is fucking insane.
Wow.
Beyond the Kaleidoscope Tool album cover, which, you know, most people would experience when you're on psychedelics. Looking up at the sky and going, I just moved Sirius over to there and Betelgeuse is now over there. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. How am I doing this?
Yeah.
But I think the one thing I thought about at that moment was the Matrix.
Yes.
There is no spoon.
Really?
Yeah, because you can bend a telegraph pole when you're on acid.
Right. Here you go.
You totally can. Like, I'll just bend it that way. And it's kind of like this paradox, man, where you, I think what I say to people on psychedelics is, one, surround yourself with good people.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Company is everything. It doesn't matter what you're doing, drinking, smoking weed, or
Especially
whatever.
if you're doing it for the first time.
Yeah, company's everything.
Yeah. Especially someone who's like, I've never done it. But from what I heard is, if you're going to do it for the first time, make sure you're not in anywhere where there's danger, like glass or instruments to fall over. Make sure someone has done it before and they're there to guide you. A guidance is, the best way to get through it.
Yeah, totally. And I think another good bit of advice for people that have wanted to experiment with such things is have what I would call a yardstick. Have someone there that ain't on it.
Right, yeah.
Like if there's 5 of you, have one of you that ain't
You
on
need
it.
someone to tell the story.
Yeah, you need and you need someone to go, maybe that's, no, don't get in the car now. Bad move. That's a bad move.
Don't go near those police officers.
Yeah. Come back into the lounge room, or let's go lay on the front yard. But I would say the second thing is setting. You've got to have a good setting. Good people, good setting. I think it's good advice as well if you've gone through a trauma. Maybe it's not a good idea to do it straight away. But with that said, someone that's been through PTSD, and I know I've brought people through that journey of PTSD, I would say that there's a lot to be said for substances that get you outside of yourself to re-establish beauty.
Yeah.
Because that's what, and that's the problem with depression. Nothing is beautiful.
No.
Everything's ugly.
Yeah.
Everything is dark. There's a cloud that follows you, and it's always fucking raining.
Exactly. Yeah.
So the way to change the weather is to get outside of yourself. Maybe that's not a one-all-fit-all for everyone, but the experience that I've had with people that have been through those experiences, it certainly has helped them.
Yeah.
But
that's what Charlotte's and War is basically about. 2 women heavily depressed and trying to. Well, Charlotte's Requiem was about the loss of her husband, and she just encased herself in this room for 6 odd months, reliving the day prior to his murder, and she would relive it over and over and couldn't escape it.
Yeah, see, I've got a term for this.
Yeah.
I call it a trauma loop. Stuck in a trauma loop.
Yeah.
Where you relive it over and over and over. You get a trigger, relive it over and over.
Exactly. And then it just took her, loving sister, played by Sondheim, who would be that loving best friend support, but it got so much with her, because carers who are looking after people in heavy depression, they go through a lot as well, but they've got to be strong. They can't just say, you're depressed, you've been for that for about 6 months, snap out of it, come on,
climb out.
Yeah, climb out. But it's the whole point of depression is not getting over it. It's moving on and making that step, getting out of the house, living life again. Okay, you're never going to get over whatever caused it, but it's just a matter of moving on.
Well, I think look, being a veteran and working with veterans, I think the best way to help someone out of depression, because they're in a hole.
Yeah,
depression is a hole. A lot of people walk past that hole, go, just get out of the hole. And if you've ever been in one, you realise that is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
The best way to get someone out of a hole is to jump in with it. and help them out.
Yeah.
The problem with that is that now you're inside of their depression. So it takes a strong character to do so.
Yeah.
And someone perhaps that isn't tormented. I don't recommend anyone helping out someone that's depressed if they're depressed themselves. And again, that's a generalization. Perhaps, I don't know the ultimate answers to these things, but I would say that if you've been through depression, perhaps you can be someone that jumps in that hole with somebody. But if you're currently depressed, maybe you're not in a position to help people.
Yeah.
So, but I will definitely say there's something to be said for psychoactive drugs and the management of mental health. There's not enough research into it.
Yeah.
I think they need to do more research.
Didn't they experiment with humans back in the 50s and 60s with psychedelic drugs?
Yeah, totally, man.
Yeah.
In two different ways, man. In two different ways. They did it in a therapeutic way.
Oh.
Where they were, one experiment that you could look to was violent offenders that were in jail.
Yeah.
And they would put them on psychedelics, and their odds of reoffending were lower.
Right, okay.
Right. So you got someone that, King hit someone and they're in jail for a year. Give them psychedelics and then have them feel empathy for their victim. They'll go, I'm not going to do that again. That was really nasty.
Right. Interesting.
Right? Interesting thought, right? But on the other scale, they've got things like MK Ultra. You ever heard of MK Ultra?
No.
MK Ultra was a CIA project to mind control people, and they were using psychedelics to do so.
Okay.
They were putting up brothels, and then they'll get a customer in, and the hooker would be in on it. Spike their drink.
Interesting, yeah.
And there's a mirror, and there's guys behind the mirror, like taking
Wow.
notes about how to control people. It goes to the extent of the assassination of Bobby Kennedy, the assassination of
JFK?
No, but Lee Harvey Oswald. Because Lee Harvey Oswald was assassinated by Jack Ruby. And Jack Ruby was defined as being insane and psychotic. The strange thing is, the same psychiatrist was the same guy that killed... It was the same psychiatrist for Bobby Kennedy.
Interesting you should say that.
Murderer and Jack Ruby.
Right.
Coincidence? Don't think so. No. That was MK Ultra.
When Oliver Stone was announced that he was making JFK, and he had the script, and he did so much research... Guess who approved the script? CIA.
Oh, I bet.
The CIA was wanting to know what the hell you're going to expose or try and tell this story, and they just had to red mark everything, and they apparently approved it.
Yeah. Oh, look.
Weird, but yeah.
Oh, look, man, we're getting deep. We've gone into depression. Now we're in conspiracy. But look, for someone that's been around ballistics a lot of my life, the magic bullet theory, I don't think it holds up. I just don't think it does. An impossible shot by...
So who was in the grassy knoll?
I know who it was, I think. Oh, I can't say it like I know who it was. Who I theorise or
Hang on, there's a red dot on you.
That was a guy called, I think his name was E. Hunt. And he was arrested as a homeless vagrant that day.
Right.
And if there's a photograph of them, I wish I had my Google guy here. Then we can pull up this photograph.
Yep.
And these three vagrants were arrested that day, and you can see a photograph of them standing, being walked to a bull wagon to be arrested. And there's E. Hunt, who is in the CIA.
Right.
He's at the front.
Yep.
And there's this guy who had what I would say has a posture and a face on him that is someone that has the satisfaction of a kill look on his face.
Interesting, yeah.
Because the killings... only one can surmise. I can only talk from a hunting perspective, because there's two things that happen to you when you kill an animal, right? You feel bad.
Yeah, of course.
Like your medulla in your brain goes, that was wrong. There's a part of your brain that goes wrong. With serial killers, they don't have that.
No.
They don't have their medulla is thicker, and they have penchant for violence.
Yeah.
Most of us, if I said
sociopaths, they have no empathy.
No empathy
at all.
They have their medulla is different from ours. If we, like, for instance, if the apocalypse happened and we're like,
I thought it was going to happen in 2016.
Yeah, well, it turns out it's 2020. Maybe a dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
But if we just for instance, a comet just hit a nuclear bomb just went off in Sydney, and we stayed inside for 14 days, waited for the irradiation to clear, and we got up the gumption to go and get some food.
Right.
And we killed a kangaroo. And I said, Mark, I shot the kangaroo. I need you to skin this roo. And
oh god, that's not going to
the
be
part of your brain's going to go, oh, serious, dude?
You're like, yeah, you can do the dirty work.
Yeah, oh man, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
And eventually you'd get attuned to doing it, right?
Exactly, because it's survival. So it's survival of the fittest, and you've just got to have that,
But there's the other side of the hunt. The thrill of the kill. You know that you succeeded.
Yeah.
I have power in this situation.
Exactly.
And I would say that photograph, that's the look on that man's face.
Wow. Yeah.
I'll show it to you after the show.
Cool.
I'll show it to you and you go, yeah, he just murdered someone. No, he just murdered someone important.
Wow.
It can actually... Oh, man, we're going to get bogged down. I don't want to get bogged down in JFK.
Let's change the subject.
No, but I'll just say one more thing. I'll just say one more thing. The driver of the car clearly stopped the car, looked back, waited for his head to blow off, and then drove away. Everyone was in on it. And I'll ask you, look, just to finish this off, right? Out of any organisation in the world, whether it's the mafia, the CIA, the Cubans, the Russians, who is the most qualified to assassinate a leader and put in their own person? It's the CIA.
Yeah.
That's their job.
Yeah.
And that was their masterpiece. Theory only, just joshing. Don't fuck me over in the comments.
No.
I don't want to talk too ill. But we'll change the subject. But we're running out of time. We've only got about 20 minutes to go.
Oh, that's all right.
So, have you got... What other productions do you have in the pipeline?
Okay, as we were saying before, so we've got a script called Blood Debt, which is a horror feature script that I've handed over to James, because James goes like, do we have anything in the pipeline? I said, I have got so many scripts. To me, I'm a writer first and foremost, then producer, director. To me, I started as a writer. I wrote short scripts, short stories as a kid, and did a short course when I was 19 in script writing, and then just went on from there. So I was basically writing. And the one thing I've learned as a young writer up until now, never throw anything away. No matter how bad it could be or whatever.
It's great. It's a great bit of advice.
Great bit of advice. And the classic example of a successful, as a successful writer who was told not to throw anything away was Stephen King. Okay, so he was at pretty much at the point of his life where he was just like, he was teaching English and he was just writing, and he was getting reject after reject after reject.
He's an insane person, though.
And his wife, he was sitting in the bathtub. This is the story he tells. So he was sitting in the bathtub and he was smoking cigarettes and listening to the baseball on the radio. And his wife comes down to him and hands him this manuscript and says, "You should go on with this." It was a script that manuscript that he threw in the bin, and it was Kerry.
Oh wow! That's a massive movie. That's a massive book.
Massive book, and from then on, the rest is history. So if he chucked Kerry away, he wouldn't be the successful writer that he is now. And he's constantly writing all the time and publishing everything. So I've learnt my lesson from that story: never throw anything away. So I've just resurrecting a lot of scripts and reworking them, and that's the best thing you can do, especially when you run out of ideas. Or, if you're stuck with...
if the lake has run dry.
So just pick up some old scripts and go, oh, that was fantastic.
Rework it.
Crap, or you just rework it. So we've got a feature script at the moment that we're working on, and another short script that we're working on as well, while he's finishing off AK2.
What about as a writer? So as a writer, right? Right. So as a writer...
Yeah.
Are you someone that sits at the blinking cursor, or are you a mapper? Do you map it out, or do you just go hell for leather out of a keyboard? Or do you do the notes? The other guys I know that do
it depends. It depends on what you're writing about. So if you're going to write something historical or something that needs a lot of research, you need to map it out. So I can't really sit down and go, I'm going to write about World War II. Go. Without it, sounding inaccurate or accurate. So I've come up with great scripts just by looking at the blinking cursor.
Wow.
I would just come up with an idea.
That scares me.
Yeah, it does.
Scares me.
It's scary, but it's fun as well.
Because it's like...
you just
jumping.
Come up with an idea, saying, okay, well, I'm going to do a horror story. man walks into a house, it's dark, it's creepy, there's cobwebs, that's your start of the scene, and go from there.
Okay.
And snowball. When I was young, I used to be good at snowballing little ideas and turning them into a big one. Sometimes I'd overdo it, where it would be crap, but the way I'd write, I'd just sit down. You do need an idea, of course. You can't just sit down and go, okay, what am I going to write about? Because hours will go by.
Yeah,
so
blinking cursor.
Yeah, exactly.
Blinking away. Torturing you, blinking.
Yep.
I think, I don't know, I've
as a songwriter, do you go through the same thing as well?
Songwriting's a bit different.
Like, do you go music first or lyrics?
Music's first.
Yeah.
Music's always first. 99.99% of the time. Yeah. Sometimes I'll go to a guitarist and go, hey man, I got this story and I need you to turn it into music and then make the lyrics match. The most process that goes into writing for lyrics for a song is about a guitarist putting down a guitar line and then you populating your tones. Yeah. Not necessarily words yet, just sounds.
Yep.
So a way I do it, especially doing guttural vocals, I'll just put the sounds in first, and then I'll take the sounds away and go, what's this actually about? How do I feel about it? We brought it up before. I was doing, we were talking about MK Ultra.
Yep.
Just because we're doing our album at the moment, so I've just written a song about MK Ultra. That's why it's on my mind.
Yep.
Jack Ruby, Juan Romario.
Yep.
And I've written a song about it. To express the anger that's behind that and the frustration. So there's always a motivation. So that's where that actor sort of director part comes in. But I'm writing lyrics, the music comes first, and then the sounds of lyrics, and then those sounds of lyrics turn into lyrics.
Yep.
That's generally the process.
Yeah.
I love getting a song that's already complete and then populating it. Another way that it happens is we'll be jamming it live and we just hit magic and we write it on the spot.
Do you keep it simple? Do you keep the lyrics simple?
Yes and no. Some bands I've made it really complex because of my inspirations. For instance, Maynard. When I was in a band called Leaving Metropolis, I would do what you call transitions. So you go from a screaming voice to a spoken sung voice, and then back into an angry guy, and then into a soft guy, angry guy, and a soft guy. Yeah. You would transition between those 2 points. I've been in other bands that are full screamo, just full screamo. No understandable audible words at all.
Yeah.
Just full metal. The band that I'm in at the moment, the previous band that I'm in at the moment was more of a political band. So it was a mix of trying to have a political message.
Yeah.
And it was all about conspiracies.
Yeah.
It was we even coined it conspiracy metal.
Okay.
We were doing our own thing, and we're getting a lot of traction with it. But now that's sort of evolved out of that, and now we're in this space where we're just having fun. And every song is a story. Yep. There's always a story behind it. The thing that's really starting to evolve in our band at the moment is I'll go to the guitarists and I'll go, man, I've got this. I need you to write a guitar riff that says that we've made it. I need you to write a guitar riff that says I need to punch someone in the guts.
Yeah.
And then start screaming at them. And they'll do it. And then or they'll go vice versa. They'll go, I've written this riff, man, and I need you to be a little bit soft here, but then get real fucking angry there.
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a to and fro between because music is a language.
Yeah.
It's a language that that's where jamming works. Like, I recommend to anyone that wants to be in a band, right? Because I've worked with guitarists that are fucking talented, but you put them in a room with a drummer, they can't jam.
Right.
You got to be able to jam.
Yeah.
You know, like the best way to test out a musician is to do an open chord.
Right.
To start with, dong.
Especially drummers, because they know they've got good timing. They have to have good timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they'll integrate.
Yeah. So what's more important, that bass or the drum?
Oh, that's a 6 in one and a half dozen in the other question. Yeah. There's no more that is important, but I would say from a constructive point of view, the lead guitar is called a lead guitar for a reason.
Yeah.
The guitarist generally is the leading force in the writing drive of a band. The last thing that gets laid on is lyrics. Yeah. It's the last thing that gets painted on. The guitars will happen, and then the drums will happen, then the bass and drums will happen, and then integrate with the guitars, drums, and bass, and the last thing you lay on is the lyrics.
Right. Okay.
And that's the best way to write. but I get inspired by the band. This is where it gets addictive. Like there's two things about that is addictive being in a band. One is performing. Performing is the fucking bomb.
It is, yeah.
It's fucking awesome. I just can't explain it to anyone. Whether you're in front of 60 people, 6 people, 600 people. It's the same fucking thing.
It's the same with live theatre. Because when I was younger, I used to perform in live theatre. And hours before you go on stage, you're shitting yourself.
Totally.
Because you're just thinking of, okay, where's my character going to move? You got to think of your lines.
What if I fuck up?
And you overthink.
What if I bomb?
Once you're overthinking it, and it's like, I've got to go to the toilet several times. But as soon as you get on the stage, boom, everything goes away. And it's like magic.
Yeah.
It's just you, the lights, and the audience. And yeah, it's powerful.
Well, it's kind of being in the zone, right?
Yeah, exactly.
You're in the zone, like...
And you get one take.
Yeah, that's it.
One take.
Like, you've got an audience in front of you. That's it. Like, there's nothing worse than dropping a song or bombing, man. There's nothing worse than that feeling. Yeah. But at the same time, there's nothing like the feeling of success on a stage. That feeling, I wish that everyone could experience that, to know what it feels like. It is like, look, I've never shot heroin, but I imagine it's awesome. But
Ask Nikki Six.
But, you know, performing on stage, I cannot think of things that compare. I suppose directing is a comparison. Yeah. Where you got the energy in the room.
For me, directing is pretty much like going on stage the first time. You're overthinking things. You're shitting yourself, thinking, okay, well, everyone is looking at you.
Yeah.
You got to make the decisions right there and
I've got to make this leather jacket count.
Yeah. People are going to ask you questions that you have not prepared for, and you have to answer straight away. I remember when we're doing Charlotte.
That's the key to leadership, though. You've got to have an answer, right or wrong. It is. Got to have an answer.
There were a few times in Charlotte where I had to do it, and it worked. I gave
shooting from the hip.
I gave my DOP. She goes, "Oh, do you have a shot list?" And because she was very, she would just do it on the day. She would keep the shots minimal, and still convey the message across. Still have the beauty of the image that you're wanting in the story you wanted to tell. So I said, "Look, I've got some shot lists for you." 20 pages of shot lists for a 15 short film. So the first scene was about 20 shots. And I'm like, what the hell am I doing?
And I gave it to her. A bit overkill.
Freaking overkill, big time. And I've still got it at home. And I look at it and I laugh and I go, you're a dickhead. So I gave it to Luckmere. Shout out to Luckmere. She's listening. And she goes, yes, I read your original shot list. So we're just going to keep it minimal.
I'm going to consolidate that. Exactly, it's a nice way to put it. I'm going to consolidate that.
Exactly. So you do your traditional wide, mid, close up, close up reversal and that stuff like that.
Yeah, so SRS, wide.
Yeah, exactly.
And interstitials.
But the most important thing is you've got to get along with your DOP. You got to make sure that they understand your vision and convey it across, because you can explain what you want. It's a love affair. It is, yeah.
Totally a love affair.
I've worked with her twice now. So basically you've got to tell your vision and she'll be like, yep, I understand it. However, you're going to get the same thing if we do it this way. Okay? Try not to overcomplicate things, especially what message you're trying to convey and what you're trying to say. And it's really important, because sometimes you get, DOPs that will be dictative, especially if you're a first-time director.
Yeah, I was bringing this up before. There's different types of directors and dictators. Oh, sorry, DOPs.
Yeah.
Freudian slip, I know. You know who you are. I love all of you.
I've come across many.
So you're either the dictator, the submissive, the consultative artist. What do you reckon? Yeah. I'm more of the consultative, collaborative.
I'm extremely laid back.
I'm extremely laid back as well.
Yeah. However, if the lighting or sound or whatever, they're just mucking around and it's like, dude, we've got to get this done in a certain time, then that's what a good
money's running, man. Money's running.
That's a good
money's running. We got shit to do.
Yeah, that's a good thing. That's the best thing a first AD can do is like push you. And
I call them drill sergeants.
They are.
They're a drill sergeant. That's their job. Because the director will always be the good guy. The directors, general in my world, like I know there's some directors out there that are very dictatorial. Is that even a word, dictatorial? They run dictatorial.
You've just created it.
I've created it. It's fine. But some people are like, no, these are the words. This is what needs to be said, and this is the vision. This is how it happens. It's my way or the highway. I'm more of like, all right. So this is my vision. How do you think all of us can achieve that?
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So I bring it into collaborative space. But I think ADs, because we're the good cops. We're the good cops.
They're the ones with the stopwatch.
They're the ones who got a list and going, hey, on set now. And we're like, hey, but I'm just smoking a joint with this guy. Like, no, fuck you, man. We've got work to do.
Or my DRP, or our DRP, we should say, Erin Alexander. Hello. She's amazing. And she's local too. Everybody who I've worked with are local. They're all from around Western Sydney. Great community.
Man, you guys have got to start making 7-minute films.
Well, that's what we're going to plan doing now. I haven't. Like James and I, we constantly are messaging each other, and we're just saying,
because you guys are making some killer content, man. You guys are fucking murdering. Yeah,
but
why aren't you in the festival?
Well, the problem is our content's too long.
Shorten that shit up.
We will.
Because you guys are making some fucking pristine shit.
We get along like a house on fire because when we first met while he was in the middle of doing AK Season 1.
Atomic Kingdom kids.
Yep. And he, we were just chatting and he told me the brief synopsis of what the story was about. And I'm like, fuck, that's cool. Can I get involved?
Yeah.
Like I was speaking to one of his friends about Blood Debt, because Blood Debt's been on the works for quite some time. And so basically we just got along like a house on fire, and I helped him out with crew and casting with AK, and then rest is history. I was pushing at him consistently to work with him for years, and here we are.
Man,
so
you guys are doing a good job.
We do have some works in the pipeline, but COVID has fucked things up.
Yeah, it's one of those.
We are actually going to premiere AK2 this year.
Yeah, I know. And I was talking to James, because I was talking to James last year.
Yeah, I think
and I asked him the obvious question: what's coming up in the pipeline? He goes, "Yeah, man, 2020 is going to be fucking bomb, man." I'm like, "Yeah, man, I've got some productions coming up.
Everything's great,
man." And I talked to him off air. I'm like, "Man, if you want to show your shit at a cinema, I'll split the fucking costs with you, and you show your shit, and I'll show my shit." Which is always a good deal to do with other filmmakers. But we got totally dick punched by COVID. But with that said, I like to look at the
there is a positive side to it.
You got to look at the silver lining.
I said to him, okay, the best thing about it, let's write off 2020. Everyone has written off 2020, and I said, take this time to perfect every single episode. If we need to go back and do ADR, whatever, fucking do it. All right, plan ahead and just don't rush things, because that's the last thing you want to do.
Yeah. Well, to put an analogy on it, I had this friend. You remember the game Commodore? Not Commodore 64.
I know Commodore 64.
I know Commodore 64 as well. Unfortunately, showing our age. But the Nintendo 64 and this game GoldenEye.
Yeah.
Remember the game GoldenEye?
Yeah. James Bond. Yeah.
All right. So I had this mate, because we were in high school smoking bongs, right? And he would duck behind a crate while he's being shot at.
Yeah.
And right. And then pick up his controller and start again. I was more of the kind of guy that paused.
Yeah. And then do it.
Right? But he's like, no, I'm not pausing. I need them shooting at me. Well, I'm like,
right, okay.
Like you are a fucking trailblazer. You are a fucking genius. But I just feel at the moment that we're on pause. Everything's on pause, right?
Yeah.
And I just can't wait for the vaccine / herd immunity, whatever the case may be.
There's even conspiracy theorists out there about the vaccine.
Oh fuck! They're going to be everywhere.
Oh, they're everywhere. You can't escape them. And they
we've even dived into it in this show, man. Like we ended on this weird fucking tangent.
Yeah. What do they call it? Cancel council, or what do they?
Yeah. Cancel culture.
Cancel culture. Yeah. They're like, yep, no, I'm offended by that.
Yeah.
They're the millennials. Us, we grew up with that shit. Remember Kings of Country?
Yeah, totally. They could not air right now.
Yeah,
even Friends wouldn't get away with it, right?
Exactly, yeah.
But I think the more things change, the more they stay the same. If you think about our predecessors, they would look at us as soft, right? But if you look at what we've been through, they're soft. They can try dealing with social media in the world in the 1940s. Fuck off.
No.
That ain't going to fucking happen.
Exactly.
And we look at them with the same eyes. Why don't you just get the fuck over it? Right? That's what we're looking at, mate.
Yeah.
And that's most of our people of our generation, Generation X, and the later Y generation is looking at the Z generation, going, "Get the fuck over it."
There is an awesome
But I think there's water in it though. You know, if you see what I'm saying, there's gravity to it, and we don't understand it yet. That's the problem. We fear what we don't understand.
Exactly, and people are just relying on social media. They've got to take the blinkers off and get a look at the outside world. There's a great scene in years ago, The Simpsons. Remember how everyone was on the video games and watching TV? All of a sudden, the power was out. And everyone just walked outside and they opened their eyes and like, there's a world outside. Yeah. You know? Yeah, so what inspired me to do short films, do you remember, it's showing my age, every Saturday before I would watch Rage at night.
Rage.
I love it. The thing I love about Rage, they have not changed their format or their graphics.
I've got some stats on there.
Or their, yeah.
It's the longest running opener in the world.
Yeah.
By decades.
Yeah, and they're still using... Is it Iggy Pop's song they're still using?
Yeah, it's the same thing. When I was a child to a teenager to a man in his young 20s to a man in his young 30s and approaching 40, it is still the same.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah. My brothers and I would stay up and would tape all like the top 40. This was back in 1987, 88.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, segueing back to what I was saying before.
Where the fuck are we going, Mark?
I don't know. What's this beer doing to us? Do you remember the SBS short film series called Eat My Shorts or Eat Shorts?
Eat Shorts.
Do you remember that?
I do remember that, yeah.
And they've now canned it. But I used to watch that. Like, they'd show short films from across the world. And they were fantastic, you know? And it sort of inspired me, like, oh, short films. Oh, wow. All these stories.
We were doing this on TVS because I used to...
and they've got Schlocky Horror Show.
The Schlocky Horror Picture Show.
Is that on Aurora?
It's on Aurora now, but it used to be on TVS.
Oh, yeah.
And I used to be the station supervisor at TVS.
Yes.
For 4 years.
Yeah.
4 years I was... absolute pleasure. Absolute pleasure to do that job.
I've never had that experience, unfortunately.
Well, this is where I met James, actually.
Oh, okay.
Because I gave him some spaces to work in studios at TVS.
Yep.
And we would have All Sorts, which was a short film television show. And this is actually... What you're talking about is actually what inspired the creation of Made in the West.
Right, okay.
So it's a community-based idea. It's the same as the podcast, man. It's a community-based idea. It's not about, trying to get this dollar here and there. It's about putting word out about local artists. And that's what Television Sydney was about. It was about putting people out there to show different content, opposing content. And that's the thing that really bummed me out about it. Since then, I've made a bucket load of money doing other things, and it's been great.
Yeah.
But fuck me, man, I miss that station, and I miss what it has. And Aurora's out there, and that is the last foothold. Aurora is the last foothold, and I must stress that.
Who's funding it?
Foxtel.
Foxtel's funding it, right?
Yeah, it comes from Foxtel.
Right, okay.
And they are the last foothold of community TV because you've got Channel 31 in Melbourne. They're still operating. And I was saying this to James on the show. He was on about a year ago.
Yeah.
And I was saying to him, he goes, "Oh man, we got to play in Sydney. It was really great." And I'm like, "No man, I'll put you on nationally."
It's like, what?
He's like, "What?"
I've watched that episode recently. And he was like, why didn't you tell me?
Where's
man? My royalties?
He's like, "No, but what do you mean?" I'm like, "You've played in Melbourne, you've played in Brisbane, you've played in Adelaide, you've played in Perth, you've played in Darwin, you've played everywhere, dude." And he's like, "Get the fuck out of here." I'm like, "Man, what do you think we're fucking doing?"
You're showing content to people. Yeah, which is the whole point.
We're distributing content. And he goes, and he's like, "Yeah, but I didn't know that we're doing that." I said, "Did you sign a content agreement?" He goes, "Yeah." I said, "Probably should have read it."
Read the fine line.
Read the fine print, man.
Yeah.
We always trade content. That's how we work. That's how the world works, man.
Yeah, it's great.
Like, some people will say that money makes the world go round. I fucking disagree with that. Generosity is what makes the world go round.
Yeah, money comes and goes. And it's generosity and the people you meet, they're the ones that stick with you for the rest of your life.
That's what's inherent.
Exactly.
That's what's inherent.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I was really glad to play the socks off that dude and go, "Hey man, you've played nationally, man. Just letting you know." He goes, "Fucking no idea."
That's awesome.
Oh man, we're really close to the end. I've only got like 5 minutes left on this clip, so. But
did you want me to tell you my who's okay?
All right, you got 2 minutes.
2 minutes? Okay. I want to talk about celebrities. Celebrities who you've met, who you've actually went fangirl over.
Oh, fuck. There's been a few. There's been a few.
Yeah.
Let me go the horror side of it.
Okay.
The horror side. I got to, when I was in East Timor as a 20-year-old soldier, I got to meet Tim Freeman, which is, very well-known musician.
Yep.
And
Doug Anthony also does.
Yeah.
No, sorry, no, that's not Tim Freeman. That's
the
wrong Tim.
Yeah, no, the guy
from
the Pagey.
Yeah,
that guy.
Whitlams. Sorry,
that's it. The Whitlams. So I got to meet Tim Freeman, and I got to sort of chauffeur him around East Timor with a crew of protection.
Okay,
crew.
yeah.
And he didn't want to put on the body armor because he goes it smelt bad, but he was really cool because he ended up getting us some beer, and it was really hard for us to get beer, and we got some beer and we had some laughs. And then fast forward 15 years later, I'm doing an interview series called Sydney Shorts, and I got to interview him again.
Wow. Did he remember you?
No, he didn't remember me. I was just the cameraman.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
The other thing was I was his assistant, if you will, in East Timor. And then fast forward 15 years later, I was a cameraman at an interview that he was at. And he's just a horrific person. So, sorry, Tim. I'm sure you're a great guy. But
grown. Yeah.
My instincts of you are different. But I think out of fangirling, if I was a fangirl, I would say Peter Garrett, actually. Peter Garrett did a bit of fangirl over.
My brother is a picture framer, and he picture framed one of his platinum records because he's from Barrel, and my brother has his picture frame in Mittagong, and he went over and it's like, you're
really tall dude,
freaking huge,
fucking really tall dude.
He's a beautiful guy. He's so
a lovely
humble,
person,
absolutely humble,
so humble, and a lovely human being. I just I fangirled over him a little bit, but who have you fangirled over?
Mike Patton,
holy fuck! You got to meet fucking Mike Patton?
I've met him twice. So, I was 21 years old.
I fucking love Mike Patton, man.
21.
What band has this man not been in?
Oh no, this was Phantomus. All right, so he came, right. So, I was there with my best mate who, and we were sitting at Cheers pub, across the road from where Utopia used to be. So there was Utopia there, and so it was Phantomus, and we were there lining up, and it was a big line. And then, I was getting on nerves. I had Metro CDs there, and I had Buzz, he signed it, and I had Trevor sign it, and then it was Mike Patton's turn. So there was Mike Patton, and I was like, oh my God, mate, you have no idea how fucking awesome you are. I love you.
Another vocalist has changed my life.
I know, I love you in Faith No More. I love you, Mr. Bungle. You are fantastic. He's like,
Mr. Bungle, Tomahawk.
I've seen everything that he's done when he comes over here. Man. So I'm there going fangirling, embarrassing the hell out of me. And you've got who was the drummer? Sorry, Dave Lombardo. Dave Lombardo, who was just giggling his head off. It was funny. So I was like, "Yep, no worries, awesome." And I just walked out, and I was like,
"Fucking Mike Patton."
I know, Mike Patton. Hell. But I just went over the top. I was like, okay.
I'm a little bit envious of that. But man, I need to wrap it up really quickly.
No, awesome.
So to check you out as an actor, director,
so
producer,
go on my
writer.
Writer, yes. You can message me on Facebook. You can look at Penigma Pictures on Facebook as well. James Pinata. So everything's all on Facebook. So
check it out. Autonomy Kingdom. Check out Mark Zimmerman on IMDb.
Yes.
And
so new content will be coming out next year, hopefully, and we'll be working on new content. So if anyone's interested in helping us out and joining us, join the ranks, man. We need all the help we can get. And so all you young talented filmmakers out there who we're here to support you and help you, and that's the most important thing, is that we're a community, that we just support each other.
Well, that's what it's all about, right? It's about community.
Leave all the egotism and all the crap out. Just let's make great content and love doing what we do.
I just want to make pretty pictures, man.
That's it.
That's all I want to do. Pretty pictures and great conversations. And speaking of which, thank you so much for being on the show tonight.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it. It's been a great night.
And you can check out the Pagey Train on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you find podcasts. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel. All of that helps, guys. And if you really like the show, don't forget to hit the notifications bell right here. And once again, I'd just like to thank my guest, Mark Zimmerman, for being on the show.
Thank you very much. It's been awesome. Rock on.
Fucking A, and I'll see you guys next time.
Awesome.
That's it, man.
That's
We're all
it.
done.
Fantastic.
Yeah, man.
Awesome. Enjoyed it. Like I said, I could just go on and on.
Yeah, man. Once I upgrade it, it'll be all fucking cool. I can do like 4-hour podcasts, man.
Oh, can they only let you do so much?